Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for being with me, Tom. I'm part of Hope Church, Bedlington. Just want to welcome you to this short reflection. You know, I'd planned on talking about a few things today, but actually I woke up this morning and I checked my messages on my phone. And to be honest, I don't always do that. I don't think it's always the best thing to do to first thing check your messages on your phone. But today I checked my messages on my phone and I read a WhatsApp message from a dear friend of mine. I won't go into the details as a private message, but I just want to say that this message was very shocking. He had lost 4 people in the last week, 4 loved ones that were very close to him in a week to COVID-19. And obviously he was very distressed. You know, life can be so exhausting, so desperate at times, so painful that it feels like you can't bear it. And I don't want to just come on Facebook once a week with some glib answers for you all, with some quick fixes. I want to be real and say these things are deep and painful and they feel like we can't bear them at times. I had talked about continuing this thing I've been pondering and praying and enjoying God over, this kind of idea of wonder today. I don't know if you've ever watched the film or read the novel called Wonder. I watched the film. I haven't read the book with my kids a while back, and you know we really loved it as a family. But underneath, it's a very dark story actually. You know, a wonderful little lad who was born with a severe facial disfigurement ends up being the subject of bullying when he goes to school. After his parents had kept him home for quite a long time, homeschooling, they send him into school, and obviously it's very distressing for him and for others as well. And this film, and I believe the novel as well, presents it in a way that is actually so light and so wonderful that you can almost forget the pain and the darkness that's going on behind it. But it is a wonderful film if you want to watch it. And I think it deals with this subject of suffering really well. Jesus, he said the most revolutionary and challenging words that the world has ever seen. And he said them on a mountainside to a crowd, probably somewhere in northern or modern day northern Israel. You know, in a world, the world was the same back then in many ways, the same ideals and values. But in a world that says you are blessed when you have it all, you know, you're blessed when you look good, when you feel good, when you're physically fit. You are blessed when you know you can make things happen. You are blessed when you are the top dog, when you are the man or the woman, and what you says goes, then you're blessed. Well, Jesus says no. You are blessed when you are poor in spirit. Blessed are the poor in spirit, because you truly know your need for God, and that is what Jesus says blessing is. Blessed are those who truly know that they need God. You know, in a world that says you're blessed when you're surrounded by loved ones. You know, when the loved ones that you have are alive and you're surrounded by them. Those you love and those who love you, those you look after and those who look after you, you're blessed. That's what the world says. You know, Jesus said, you're blessed when you mourn. You are blessed when you know and you accept the sorrow of losing someone you love. I mean, much like the story of Wonder, the film I was talking about, where a little boy faces terrible persecution through no doing of his own, we see the blessing come about in that story to him, in what he experiences, and also to those around him. And as followers of Jesus, and as people who have God's Spirit in us and working through us, I believe that these 2 first statements in the Beatitudes, as we call them, on the Sermon on the Mount, these 2 first statements from Jesus are fundamental to our relationship with him and our ability to bless others and our ability to absolutely get through the darkest, most acutely painful times of our lives. To understand our need for God is fundamental. And that's where the blessing comes in. Because what is it that you think you really need more than anything today? A vaccine would be great, wouldn't it? A loved one to spend time with and to love and be loved. Or rest because you're pressured and tired. Or some time out of the home because it's become oppressive and intense. Well, truly, you need God. You need God. You know, He is the one who gives us health. He is the one who gives us love. He is the one who gives us rest. And He encourages us to ask specifically for these things. I've been praying specifically for these vaccines to work and to be rolled out well. I've been praying for a safety over Jo as she works, my wife Jo as she works in the RVI. I've been praying specifically for my friends who have specific prayer needs, from the needs of someone who needs something to change in their health to the needs of someone who needs a new home. I've been praying specifics because then we get specific answers. And then we understand our need for God. Listen, we don't do well without God, and so we are blessed when we truly understand our need for Him and we truly understand our need to live in the kingdom of God. And so when we lose someone, and to some extent I think this goes for other things as well, when we lose something that we love dearly, when you lose something that causes you grief. It was years after I left my life in Malawi, Jo and I left Malawi, years after that I realised the grief that I hadn't even considered, the mourning that I needed to do for losing my life that I had there. But truly you know grief when you lose someone you love. And so my encouragement to you today is to meditate on the blessing. If you had someone you loved, isn't that wonderful that first you had someone you loved? But secondly, where does our comfort come from? Where does our help come from? And the comfort from the Most High is sweeter than any other earthly comfort, any other pleasure that we can imagine. I've tasted it, I've seen it. God is so good. And so God's goodness and the pleasure and the sweetness of God's comfort is the blessing that we find in the morning. And our need for God, our utter dependence on God, is a blessing we find when we are poor in spirit, when we understand that God comes through for us. We know God as a good, good God today. We can see that through the suffering, there is blessing. I don't know if you know this today. Maybe you do, and maybe it's just a reminder for you or an encouragement, or maybe you don't. If you don't know, please cry out to God. God, I need you. There you will find your answers. And if you are grieving, if you are mourning, if you have faced loss, ask God to comfort you. I understand and I trust and I hope that He will do those things for you. We have a good, good God. Be encouraged today. Be strengthened today. And my friends, be blessed.